is Brian Jakowski.
My name is Beth Kurtzdorfer.
My name is Susan Kursdorfer.
I enjoy a lot of different things, but I guess my biggest passion is probably biathlon and skiing. It's something I've loved for many, many, many years, and I still do it. I'm not quite as good as I used to be, but I'm not quite as young as I used to be. But that's my whole reason for staying in shape. That's my whole reason for going out and doing long workouts with Heidi and going to the gym in the morning to stay strong and stay fit. And just something that I've loved for a long time, and hopefully I can do it for a lot longer.
I love reading. I love biographies. Specifically, I love following the British royal family. That's kind of my thing. So if people have questions, which obviously this is big news, they want to know something about the Queen or Prince William or Kate Middleton, I'm your girl.
I really like to color, and it's always been like a funny thing because before all these adult coloring books came out and stuff, I always felt it was very calming. And so I would buy the Disney coloring books. I would buy, all the little kid coloring books and start coloring, with crayon or colored pencil, it didn't matter. And just coloring, and people would look at me weird because they're like, you're a grown adult, why are you coloring? But it's very relaxing to me.
I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, or clinical depression as some people would call it. I was just recently diagnosed, but I've had the symptoms for some time. I've just covered them up and ignored them.
My diagnosis is bipolar 2, generalized anxiety disorder, and severe depression. I was actually diagnosed after I had my first daughter with postpartum depression that came on very quickly and severely. But I think, looking back, that I actually had depression since I was a teenager.
My diagnosis is anxiety and depression. I was about 25 when I was diagnosed. I didn't know or suspect anything before then, but as my life became harder with more medical problems, that's when it became evident that I had both anxiety and depression.
When it comes to mental illness, most people have a very misguided understanding. They think they know what mental illness is, and before I was diagnosed and had this, I thought I knew what it was too. But it's something very, very different than I expected, and in most cases it's different than what other people expect. We're not crazy people walking around. I feel mental illness is so misunderstood that if there's so many misconceptions, but I'm a fully functioning person. I hold a job, I drive a car, I do things normal people do, and if they see that I can function normally, then maybe some of that stigma that's attached to mental illness is erased in some people's minds. It's like somebody having cancer or some other disease. If you treat it and you work with it, you can live with it.
I don't feel like people have a good understanding. They can be very empathetic about mental illness, but unless you're living with it, you really don't understand.
Most people think mental illness isn't really an illness. The other thing is a lot of stigma about it, because even though it's coming more and more known that it is an illness, there are some people who you're never going to change their mind. They think it's all in your head, which it is, but they don't understand that it makes you feel like you're in your own prison. There have been times when, I don't want to talk to anybody and I shut myself down, and that's really hard because it wears on you. And you start wondering, why did this happen to me? Why do I feel this way? And just, do I need more help than I'm getting?
No matter what I do, it doesn't go away. I can't change it. And I know all the good things I have in my life with Heidi and the dogs, my job, and everything I have, but none of that matters. It just overcomes me, and it's just an immense sense of hopelessness. The most difficult part of depression is trying to let it not affect Heidi and the other people around me. I know it's impossible to do, but I try to minimize it, and I feel really bad when my mood does affect her or it does affect someone else, because they did nothing to deserve this, and that really bothers me when I affect someone else because I'm having a bad time with my depression.
The worst bout of depression I had was I couldn't sleep. Between my fibromyalgia and concussion, I just couldn't sleep, and I was up for 5 days straight, and I got to the point where everything of my health issues started crashing in on me, and at one point I did consider suicide after that 5 days of not sleeping, because your mind just starts to, make you feel like, why am I here? Why do I have to go through this?
I have tremendous stress in my life between being a single mom, my daughter, my youngest, who's classified as medically fragile. There's been at least 4 times since she was in the PICU where they have told me, you better prepare, this is probably it. And she's pulled through. But her medical issues are extensive. So the depression, it definitely is affected by those factors. And I can see if there's something that hits, so to speak, with my youngest, maybe a few weeks later, month later, it all kind of crashes and hits you at once, because I can go on autopilot when she's going through a rough patch. So
I'm very lucky. I have a very tight-knit family, and I don't have a lot of friends, but the friends I do have I can tell them anything. I'm very comfortable because they've known me forever. We've been friends most of them since high school. So I'm very lucky in that way. And some of the other people in my family also suffer from either depression or anxiety, and so they know what it's like to go through. But I also have the professional side, which, is the medication and the generalized, talking to somebody outside who is trained to help you cope when situations get really bad. But I would say my family really is the one that I can really count on. Anybody, not just the ones who suffer from depression, but anybody I can talk to.
I have, this house and Heidi and the dogs and everybody else to help me. Without her, honestly, without her, I don't know if I would be here right now. She is the reason I haven't taken my life. One of the things I started to do is mindfulness exercises. It's like meditation, but it's trying to focus on what's in front of you. You can focus on the light, you can focus on the plant, the grass, and just look at it. Look at the leaves, look at the pot, the blue, the white in the pot, or the green or the brown or the different colors on the leaves, and just try to relax and breathe.
that's one of my favorite things to do. Go to the parks, go to Allegheny, And I love the alone time. I like looking at everything and just maybe it's positive ions or something, I don't know. That I wait for all year. And sometimes in my very dark moments, I think about that. And music. Music, I think, is a great thing. If I specifically will turn things on, my happy music, and blast that. I'm a terrible singer. That brings me a lot of happiness. One of the other things that helps me is church. I'm Catholic, and going through, if it's an especially rough time, I'll go to the Basilica. There's thousands of angels and statues. I'll light a candle, say some prayers. You can be in there easily an hour, and it's just peace. It just helps so much. It's so beautiful inside.
I also found out that I like painting. I turned out to think that I did much better than I ever expected. And so I like doing that too. Travel is another thing. And it doesn't have to be like a big trip. I love to go camping. Sitting in the trees, you know, with a light breeze, and just, it's calming for me. And I absolutely love it.
Watching my daughters, though, I'd say that's the biggest thing. My oldest is 21, and my youngest is 19. She gives me great joy. Gracie was a 1.5 pound preemie, and I want to cry. So. She's very sick, and to see her happy gets me through a lot of things, because I think of her struggles, and her laugh is so infectious, and no matter what she's going through, a lot of times you just get a little smirk, a little giggle, and that helps.
There are a lot of people out there who suffer from it, and not everybody gets so low where you're actually thinking about suicide, because I never thought I would think that ever. And then I got that low where I had to tell somebody, and I got help for it right away. Not everybody gets help, and now I understand more that suicide isn't a weakness. It's because you just get to a point where you just don't understand why you're here, and you just don't think you can go through anymore. And it's really a terrible thing. It happens to a lot of people. It doesn't make you weird. It doesn't make you, you know, crazy, as people used to say. It just is something that you have to deal with and you have to get help for. We need, as a society, to get the message out there more. And so that's what I hope to do by telling other people about it.